Hey y'all, Zelda here. I am here to give you a week ahead tarot reading. Um, I have three different skulls carved by three different carvers, and you're going to choose the one that speaks to you. And then you're going to skip ahead to the timestamp that is listed in the bio, that it corresponds to the skull that you felt drawn to. And this is how you help to divine the right reading for you. I am going to tell you before we do that which decks that I am using. They will also be in the description, and then we'll jump into the readings. So the tarot deck I'm going to be using is the Moon Power Tarot. This is one of my very favorite decks. It is the first deck, in fact, that I felt very drawn and very connected to, so it is a very special one for me. I also am using the Poesis Oracle, as well as the Dirt Gems Plant Oracle and Plant Oracle deck. I am, since the Dirt Gems is relatively new, although I'm going to be using kind of whatever channeled messages come through, I'm also going to read the description from the guidebook for you this time. I love this deck. It is so beautiful. And as with all my new decks, I like to kind of participate in the learning process with you. It's fine to use decks that you don't know. You just kind of use whatever spirit offers you, but it's also really nice sometimes to check in if you feel like it has a good or supportive guidebook for you. So without further ado, let's jump into the beings. So pile number 1, this is Ilona. They are carved out of Sirius quartz by Leandro de Souza. They're a star being, a fae. So if Ilona is speaking to you, this is pile number 1. Pile number 2, this is Upaya. Upaya is carved from rhodonite by Vikas Meena, an Indian master carver. So if Upaya is speaking to you, this is pile number 2. Pile number 3 is this grape agate humanoid skull by Starborn Collective. Starborn Creations is their name. It is a Balinese collective of master carvers. And this being who inhabits this skull's name is Donovan. They're a lightning dragon. So if Donovan is speaking to you, that is pile number 3. So I am going to, for a moment, call in our guides, spirit teams. If you would like to do that with me, you can feel free to stay. If not, you're welcome to jump ahead to the link in the description that matches your pile. Spritzing some golden sphinx helps with connecting to the Akashic records and sphinx wisdom. And calling upon the guides, ancestors, spirit teams, and lineages of every person watching this video. Encouraging each and everyone to utilize their sacred powers of discernment to know which messages are meant for them and which they can leave behind. Asking that I be able to provide a clear and open channel for messages from Spirit in deep and humble gratitude. Okay. Pile number 1. You chose Ilona. Let's look at the cards, shall we? So the tarot card for Ilona is the Queen of Cups. The Dirt Gems card is Willow. And the Poesis Oracle is Play. And the first message that I am receiving around this is the image that feels like it runs throughout, like a creek that kind of connects the different parts of this landscape, which is this image of water, this image of the slide, of the bends and turns, of the kind of fountain and trickle of water. And this feels very much like an invitation to go with the flow, an invitation to find your flow and to connect with the wisdom of water. The Queen of Cups is a double elemental, and the double elemental being like an element for the court card itself and for the element that the court card is in. And the Queen is water and the cups are water. So it's like water, 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 water on all the different cards. And it just feels like that kind of patient, ongoing wisdom of water where it can kind of smooth a stone over with patience and can come from up underneath the earth and can be this kind of like binding element. It's a very expansive and I want to say flexible element, but a versatile element in that it can be a solid, it can be a liquid, it can be a gas, right, in fog or in clouds, and just has this wide range. Let's read the Willow. Page 84. The Willow, the Rinse and Tumble. So this is from the book by Louise, Burdett, and Chelsea Granger. Willow is movement. It is difficult to think of the word willow without imagining their long whips blowing in the breeze, pussy willows erupting in the spring, cool shade fluttering under graceful leaves in the summer. Willow is acceptance and release. Willow's presence mean that their beloved companion water is near because the plant chooses to be near running streams, creeks, and other bodies of water. An indicator plant, they aid us in seeing the resources around us and moving toward them. Willow is a common ally for inflammation in the human body. The wands of Willow point us towards the reason our body might be sending an immune response to a particular area. Their cooling action helps us release stuck heat and swollen tissue. Willow clears the ways to let our streams run smoothly. Often physical patterns are in conversation with emotional patterns. Inflammation can be a close cousin to resentment, bitterness, and anger. They are mirrors of each other. It's often hard to trace exactly how our patterns started, especially when they become ingrained in our daily habits and conversations. Sometimes seeking these details doesn't ultimately matter and isn't the best use of our resources. Willow will help you throw out the squabbling footnotes of your past to the wind, reset with ease, and begin a new chapter. Willow acts on our tissues as it does on our hearts, releasing, flushing, and renewing. We emerge from Willow's care, shiny and silver and soft, as a bud on their branch. Sit by the cool stream, watch the willow shift and slide in the wind, listen to their rustling song, and learn to sing along. Okay. So Thank you so much to the people who wrote that. That is really beautiful, and it feels like, indicating and connecting to resource, the ebb and flow, the overflowing, as well as like the way that it kind of like draws to the places of inflammation and shows balance and imbalance, right? The versatility can also help be that balancing quality. I'm also just connected to this other card that came up, which is play, and how play can be this very fluid experience of being in relationship, an active, loving relationship with creativity and with delight and with curiosity. And so this feels like an invitation to be sitting in the throne of your own heart space and to be extending some of that delight outwards and some of that delight inwards and being in kind of like relationship with that. It also feels like being connected to that fountain of resource, and play feels like a way that we connect to this kind of overflowing and necessary resource of like enjoyment and delight in our lives. um, I'm also like, some of the wisdom of willows is around the flexibility of the um, tree itself, right? With weeping willows, this kind of like bending of the boughs that doesn't break. It feels like the Queen of Cups is very flexible in this way, is able to be, but doesn't necessarily, will bend but won't break, right? And knows where those boundaries are. Playfulness feels like an attitude or a way to encounter challenge in a new way that is like opportunity oriented. Let's tap into Ilona and see, since she chose these cards for us. Ilona is saying that play is a portal, that each of these cups or emotional windows are portals. There's even this portal on here through the center of the flower, and that it is a portal to your heart's desires. And I'm seeing this kind of like translucent, kind of like when they show portals in a movie or something, and it's just like an almost iridescent piece of air that's like the same color, and someone walking through that, and it kind of like collapsing a part of their journey, right? And this sense of like, it's a way to relate to your own growth and development in a way that can kind of be spontaneously transformative. Fair saying that other beings understand that commitment, like devotion and being present, is an important part of life, but that it's not the same as like working and grinding and pushing oneself, and that play is the kind of tipping point where your work, your calling, that which pours forth from you is necessary and aligned in a way that is enjoyable for you and that benefits those around you. Ilona is a fae queen, although queen and king and all those types of terms mean different things to interdimensional beings. More about that in other videos, I suppose. But fair saying that there's like an access to emotional wellness and emotional alignment that our inner child or our sense of delight is very capable of accessing. Fair saying, look towards the things that inspire or spark your imagination. Look towards the things that brought you nourishment when you were a child. I'm seeing like an image of like a tree that someone is sitting in and like reading a book, or like these beings, these places and stories and activities that hold a special kind of magic for your inner self and for the parts of you that like to play. And that these are also a way to find like the portals to that which you desire. Ilona, as a Fae being, says that Faes oftentimes don't get involved, but like with matters of like manifestation almost, but that they're Fae are inviting play as a way to like call in some Fae supports or some interdimensional supports for what you are desiring. Okay. I think that is your message. Thank you, Ilona. Thank you, Group 1. If you are interested in receiving more channeled messages from beings, you can check out my newsletter, which is free to sign up for. I'm just kind of starting it. And I look forward to seeing you all in future weeks. If you would like to subscribe, I'm hoping to do more types of videos. Happy equinox to those in the Northern Hemisphere. I hope that your start to Libra season is so, so beautiful. Okay, we are moving on to Group 2. Group 2, you chose Upaya, who you can hardly see how beautiful and sparkly they are, which is why I'm moving it around and it kind of looks like, why are they doing that? This is Upaya. Let's look at the cards. The tarot card is the Page of Wands. The Ginkgo. And the Poesis Oracle card is Simplify. The message that is coming through first is around stripping away, like with Simplify, like stripping away the excess and like the layers of like sloughing off, almost like exfoliating the layers of excess. This could look like getting rid of things that are cluttering your space, or actually like exfoliating the body even, but it's kind of this like a reduction almost, where it's like things are congealing because the excess is getting bubbled off. And that process of simplification helps to sharpen the focus of that which is most relevant and most medicinal for you at this time, and can help create the opening and like the breath of fresh air for inspiration to come in and seed itself. The Page of Wands is this, all the pages feel like this invitation of like you've gone through almost like this whole process of, like, the 1 through the 10 of the suit, in this case of wands. And then the pages are like this kind of like freshness that's like stepping in with some expertise and some experience, but also with a relative newness and freshness into the court cards and into some of the expertise and self-assuredness that the like kind of graduated court cards have. And as a double elemental, it is air, or it is earth and fire. The pages are earth and the wands are fire. And so it does feel like this kind of um like grounding in and being open to like receiving. Like I see the page of wands and I think of how something can just like arrive to kind of light that spark and to just like be like open and receptive to that experience. With this, I'm really noticing the being and how it comes into contrast, and you see kind of the shape of it through the lack of alignment, even though it's so blended in. Let's read the ginkgo message, shall we? So just as a reminder, this is not something I wrote. This is written by the creators of the Dirt Gems deck, and Louise Burdett and Chelsea Granger. Ginkgo, the record keeper. Ginkgo endures. Ginkgo embodies an understanding of what can be lasting. Ginkgo is the memory keeper, the bricklayer of our foundation, the stone in the stream tumbling to a smooth beauty. As we pass through life, we have millions of experiences, large and small. A mosquito bite, a juicy peach, a car accident, the death of a beloved, a rowboat at sunset. We retain these memories in different parts of ourselves, and in many varying ways, these memories can become activated or lodged in our bodies, our decision-making, and our intuition. Our memories change as we change, and the information they contain of what is fundamental about our nature also continues to morph as we do. Ginkgo bears the weight of remembrance so that we may learn and grow and thrive beyond our memories. Ginkgo is known across the world as both a symbol and tangible being of longevity. The ginkgo tree has lived essentially biologically unchanged for 200 million years. They have lived through eras, epochs, and eons. Ginkgo is their own botanical family with no other living related species. Ginkgo has known the dinosaurs, the mammoths, and so many extinct plants and animals, friends that have passed through their life cycles on this planet. Ginkgo is an ally to tap into the annals of time with, to the most ancient library of the living and the memories harbored by the oldest forms of life. If you are in need of a bridge to your ancestors, to before them and before, Ginkgo connects us to the oldest lineage imaginable. If you seek to understand something of where you came from, what has come previously, to connect with the cycle of evolution, death, and reawakening, call on Ginkgo as your guide. The record keeper. How perfect. So this feels very like clearing the space. I also see this now as clearing the mind in a way. That can also be a powerful way that we reduce clutter. And this speaks so much, it feels like, to like that Akashic wisdom, and to how Ginkgo, if you feel connected, and these are always invitations. This is not medical advice or substitute ever. Nothing on the internet should really substitute for finding a medical professional who knows you and can support you in that way. But it is an invitation if you want to work with a plant guide. If they come up in this, maybe Ginkgo has some information or some support for you. But also that kind of like simplification can also be returning to the roots, or what is grounded within you and what is calling for your attention. Let's tune into Upaya and see what other messages she might add. So Upaya feels very connected to what we just heard about the ginkgo and about Upaya does work with Akasha, as all dragons do on some level, and this kind of wisdom of um, everything that has and will happen being a vital part of the universe and of you, and also acknowledging that you have access to that. And if you feel like you do not, that those are barriers to weather down and to, she's even saying, like, to set fire to within yourself. No one else can give you permission to access what is already yours. Like something like connection with the earth, or connection with plants, or connection with your ancestors. These are all birthrights that you're entitled to, and that opening to the gifts of those which came before you is a way that we can honor, but also that we can unlock some of the wisdom that informs our journey and that shapes our journey moving forward. Especially as we move forward with the thinning of the veil and the darkening of our days in the Northern Hemisphere, at least after the autumnal equinox, it feels like an invitation to also attend to maybe any ancestors that are in need of veneration or in need of attending, maybe an invitation to create an altar or to spend some time in meditation with your ancestors, both human and otherwise. And if any of you have dragon guides, Upaya also said your dragons wouldn't mind an altar reset either. So that is your message for today. I hope that it was supportive for you. If you would like more channeled messages, I am going to start doing some written ones at my newsletter, which is free to sign up for. You can find the information for that in the bio. And you can check out more of what I offer on my website if that feels good. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next week for the week ahead. Group number 3, you chose Donovan. So the tarot card for you, group 3, is the 4 of Wands. Datura is your Dirt Gems Oracle card. And Journey. One of the things that I'm noticing is that both of these cards, which is not true for all of the Dirt Gem Oracles, but both of these cards are black and white, and this card feels like possibly the most colorful card, actually, in the entire Moon Power Oracle deck, or Tarot deck. It's like not the most colorful deck, even though it does have plenty of color, but it just has like all of these balloons and this person just like kind of feeling themselves. And it feels like this energy of how to dance your way along your path in this life, whether or not you are on a journey to the underworld, gathering lessons and overcoming challenges so that you may grow, or whether you are feeling the breeze fly through your hair at the top of a mountain and having surmounted a challenge and feeling like all I have to do is kind of skip down the rest of this path and eat my lunch, right? That any step of the way can be a dance from one moment to the next. It is feeling like that invitation to like have a container for joy and enjoyment and passion and creativity. The containment of that in each moment and each location can't be conditional upon circumstances. I'm also feeling like some levity in my system that is almost like a contrast, right? Um, Datura, I'm feeling the kind of scorpionic skull death energy, as well as the like stars and the moon as like this cosmic way of like death is almost like a threshold, and that there are many times in our life where we are going through this death process, where we are going through this shedding, where we are laying something on the fire to be received by the universe, right? We are letting go at any given moment in some area of our life. And so the ability to like create a container for enjoyment and for the ritual of delight is very magical. Let's read Datura. "104. So just as a refresher, I didn't write this. This is written by Louise Burdett and Chelsea Granger, who are the creators of Dirt Gems. We're just learning a little bit from their wisdom. So this is Datura, the seer of the unseen. Datura is a queen of the desert, of the dark, of death, and of mystery. Datura is a moon plant, reflecting light into the shadows, glowing and glimmering in the mist. Datura is the seer of the unseen, the silence in the roaring wind. If you are struggling with the unknown, if you are facing a vast transformation in your life, and you feel yourself on the edge of a cliff, Datura is your lifeline. Datura emanates strength, power, courage. A poison plant, one that humans are not to take lightly or engage with without clear intentions and honesty. Datura states their boundaries. They allow much space and freedom to roam the unknown tides of the underworld. Datura will open your doors of perception, loosen your grip on what you think is reality, and shift the borders of what you know to be true and normal. Datura expands us. If you are letting go of a familiar reality like your home or your job, a relationship, or some stable structure you have been counting on, prickly and mysterious, Datura will not hold your hand, but they will stand by you, their courage rippling into you, shaking your bones, releasing your dreams into a new world of what is possible. You do not need to be limited by what you know or what you think. Datura encourages the visionary deep inside each of us. This sacred nightshade breaks illusions, allows for the visions in your dreams to come into waking life. Datura is not playing around. If you are too caught up in the mundane world, if you have forgotten your own magic, if you feel alone and lost in the noise, you can sail in the desert sands of this windy, moonlit queen. So that feels very aligned with this, like creating a container for magic and inspiration in that underworld journey, right? Datura feels like it's here to ground you in that seer of the unseen experience. Let's check in with Donovan. Donovan is a lightning dragon, and I'm seeing this way that almost like a lightning rod, right? That there's this like strike of like illumination. And in the moments after that, there's a lot of like trying to remember and adjust to what like was revealed, right? But that actually, after that, like, bolt of lightning, that descent back into darkness is like a natural process, and that you have to be able to trust your internal map to guide you forwards. And that because of this, it's really important to be able to not rely only on what you can see or what you know with your mind, but also what you know with your intuition and you know to be true in your bones. Creating a container where you retreat to your inner world and become comfortable and playful and energized by it is part of how you kind of clear the channel to be able to act on what you know in your bones. And that's really the message that Donovan is having. Also feels like as we are turning towards the darkness, being able to feel grounded or solid or contained as you venture into the unseen. Donovan has kind of an like a Cheshire cat vibe actually, and he's just showing me this like falling down the rabbit hole like Alice in Wonderland type of experience, and speaking to like just the image of like tumbling down into this awakening, and can feel actually really jarring and alarming to the system, like tumbling down into one of these like holes until you find your way back out of it. It can feel kind of disorienting and alarming. And so being present with yourself and not convulsing is the word, not like convulsing or contracting into fear or pushing away, but like resting in your body and in what you know and making space for what your needs are in that time is part of how you get to integrate and bring that lesson back up from the darkness, rather than just kind of like a rubber band like snapping back to what was before once the conditions change. Well, I hope that was supportive for you. Thank you, Donovan, for bringing these lessons. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the writers and creators of all of these decks. If you would like to tune into any more wisdom together, I am going to start doing some free channeled messages that will go out for my newsletter. And that's another way to kind of keep in touch with anything that is being released. I look forward to seeing you next week for the week ahead, and I hope you have a beautiful week. Thank you so much. Bye.